business owners, from restaurants to beauty to financial side. We are looking for it all. Blessings, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am one of your hosts, Elder Lakia Barnett. It's so good to be back live with Tears to Purpose Real Talk. Hey, Miss Hubbard.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope you had a great day. Nice to have you back.
Yes, it is. So I'm so excited because we are kicking off the month of December in a great way because we have so many phenomenal guests that will be coming to join us this month. And can you believe it's almost New Year's?
I know, right?
I'm going to be on the floor. Y'all going to have to come get me. Yes. So I want you guys to go ahead and do what you normally do and like, share, follow the page if you are not. Make sure that you share it down your timeline. We have two beautiful guests that are coming to share about their book projects, amongst other things that they do. So I can't wait to talk to them. But before we do that, we have to say happy birthday to one of our members, Miss Renata Nedab. Today is her birthday on the 1st of the month. Wow.
Yes.
Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Renata. From the Purpose family. So you guys make sure that as you guys are coming in, just drop a happy birthday in the comments section. Show her some love on today. So if she's not watching live, she'll get to go back and see it later on. So we're going to jump right into a preview before we get to our first guest. I'm telling y'all, I cannot wait to see this movie. I just want to see what the ending is going to be. It's so exciting. Shout out to Mike Fox and his lovely daughter that is playing in their up and coming film that will be dropping very, very shortly. So thank you guys. Keep tagging and sharing. And don't forget to put your birthday shout outs in the comments section. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce our first guest. Her name is Jamie Alicia. Author Jamie Alicia. She is an author, also entrepreneur. And let's bring her up so we can chit chat with her.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Hi.
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are well. We are so glad that you accepted the invitation to come on to Tears to Purpose Real Talk. So we're going to kick this interview off because I am so excited about talking to you about your journey. I enjoyed reading your bio. Enjoy reading the bios to find out things about you all, but it's nothing like being able to talk to you and hear it from your own mouth. So I'm going to turn this over to Miss Hubbard, and we're just going to go ahead and get started.
All right, we're going to say welcome once again, Jamie. We're so happy that you could come on with us. So how was your day?
It was long. I don't go to work on Wednesdays because my youngest daughter doesn't go to daycare on that day. So I usually try to get stuff done around the house, but she's only 5 months old, so she's still in the stage where she wants to be held all the time.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to try to get stuff done.
I know. Been there. Okay. So let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Like my writing journey.
Your writing, your family. Yeah.
That's a whole journey. But so ever since I was little, I always wanted to be a writer. Like my whole schooling was always catered for me just to be a writer. So like I know way more about writing than I'm not gonna say that I do know about anything else, but like writing was always my main priority. That's all I ever wanted to do.
Okay.
And so when I actually got the chance to sign with Dreamwake Work Publishing, it was just like it was really surreal for me. Like I couldn't believe like after trying so hard and like posting my stories on like free websites and stuff like that, it was like I finally got the chance to actually have it like out in the world.
Very
So
good. Okay. So that's something that you wanted to do. So it's really not a job because you love what you're doing. So that's more
mm-hmm.
like a passion. So you rather have a passion than a job because then, like I said, you don't mind what you're doing.
Nope.
So okay. So I also read in your bio that you are the queen of Philly.
I'm gonna just put it out there. That's what my publisher calls me. So I just
Okay.
decided to take the name, and I was
Okay.
like, okay, since she had it there, I'm gonna just re-put it there because she helped me with my bio. I'm really bad with like writing with like synopsis of my books or bios, and I was like, I don't know what to write, so I just gave her some facts about me, and she typed it all up, and I was like, okay, that works.
She got it all together for you. Uh,
Yeah,
and that's a good thing. That's good. That's good. So, what is DWWP team? What is that?
Dreamwake Dreamwake Work Publishing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they
Yeah,
help
that's
you
the
with
name of our
your
publishing company.
book. Okay.
It actually is owned by national best-selling author Sarah. I don't know if you guys ever heard of her, but she has like 60 plus books across all genres. So like I'm her assistant, she's my mentor. So
Okay.
she was the one who gave me, helped me achieve my dream. So I had to shout her out.
Excellent. Of course you did. Yes, yes. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, you is this your
Thank
first
you.
book?
No, I actually have 3 books out right now.
Oh, okay. So you want to give us the names of your books or no?
So the first one is called Queen. I started writing that one when I was in high school. So like the timeline is all everywhere a little bit. And there's a book 2 to that one, which is called Queen 2 Logan's Story. And then there's going to be a third one that's coming out either at the end of this year or sometime in the beginning of next year, which is called The Makings of Queen, which will be the prequel. And then the other book I have out is called Abuse is Not What She Deserves. I actually co-wrote that book with Sarah.
Oh, okay. They all sound interesting, especially that Queen 2 Logan story.
Yeah, that book is told from that book is told from the main male character's point of view.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
like the first book is told from the lead female role, and then book 2 is told from the lead male role.
And that's a good thing because when you a lot of stuff is catered to women and we leave the men out sometimes. So that's good to have the men join in and get their perspective on things. So great
Yeah,
job. You're doing good. You're doing good. Um, I
thank
think that's
you.
all the questions I have. So I'm gonna give you to the kids so you can pick your brain a little bit.
Okay.
All right, Jamie. So listen. So I know that everything was not peachy cream, starting out before you became an assistant, before you started writing books and things like that.
Hmm.
So tell me what purpose means to you. Like what purpose means to you and how did you find your purpose? Like what because everybody has a moment in time where you're like, yes, this is what I want to do. But I
Mhm.
understand that there's always a wilderness season before we get to that. It's always something that we go through. So I know that you have a story. So give us a little bit about that.
All right. So I was actually born with severe depression and anxiety. I struggled with it my entire life. It wasn't until probably the end of middle school I was actually diagnosed with it. So growing up with struggling with that and not knowing what was wrong with me, I have attempted suicide a couple times. Obviously, I wasn't successful, thankfully.
Amen.
And I've been through a lot of major trauma. Like I've been sexually assaulted before my 14th birthday. Like I've been through a lot. And I got to the point where it was just kind of like, why am I even here? Like all this bad stuff keeps happening to me, and like I don't know why. And with me liking to write, I used to, take that frustration and pain out with like writing. And it came to me, it was like, I didn't really have anybody to talk to. So why not write books about the situations I've been in for people or even young adults who've been through those situations, to let them know, like, you're not the only one who went through this. Like, there are people out there who understands what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, right now, I haven't started writing those books just yet, but I wanted to build my fan base a little bit before, so. But I am actually planning on putting out a young adult line of books that talk about those topics that people find so hard to talk about.
That's good.
I actually think that is a beautiful idea, because I always tell people 9 times out of 10, whatever your huge struggle in, God is going to use you in. So if you
Mm-hmm.
struggle from depression, if you struggle from suicide, if you struggle from, all the weight issues, whatever it is that you found yourself battling with, a lot, that usually is a telltale sign where God is going to raise you up in and give you dominion and have you help the next set of people. So I do believe that is something right there. So tell me, how did you deal with that? Like, how did you, when you said you were born with this, like, how is that? Like, I need you to elaborate a little bit more.
So apparently, depression is hereditary, so it can be passed down. Um, I'm not exactly 100% sure who all has it in my family. I know my mom has depression. I don't know if her case is as severe as mine is. And it wasn't until after the sexual assault happened that I actually started going to therapy and stuff, because I had to go to therapy for that. And then when I moved in with my dad and my stepmom, they tried to get me the help that I needed, and I was going to like counselors and stuff like that. And after a while, I was just like, I don't really like therapy because I'm just talking about the same things over and over and over and over and over again. And y'all just keep telling me the same things over and over and over again. I'm not saying therapy doesn't work. Just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for somebody else. So I figured out, like, with my anxiety, just get rid of the people, the stop putting myself in situations that cause me to be anxious, and get rid of the people who cause me too much anxiety or limit my contact with them. And with my depression and everything else that I go through, put it out in the book. Like, a lot of my books that I write, even though, well, the two that are out now, I'm not gonna say the third one because I haven't been in that situation, but the two that are out, like, a little bit of that stems from my life, not all of it, because everybody kept on asking me if it was about my life, and I'm like, y'all not ready for that yet. But I always put a little piece of my life into my books. So like Queen, the main character in my Queen series, she, mind you, I started writing that in high school. So she was basically like my alter ego. Like, if I was online or anything, my screen name will always be Queen. Like, she's kind of how confident she was what I wanted to be, because I wasn't always as confident as I am. I struggled with that daily. So like, I always try to put a little bit of my life, or try to manifest what I want for me into my characters or into my books.
Okay. So talk to me about, okay, so you found an outlet to be able to express what was going on, dealing with the depression, dealing with all of that stuff. Um, how how did you meet your mentor? Because listen, I think this is very important, because a lot of the times when we are going through stuff, God will send certain people to unlock things in our journey, in our destiny. Firm believer of that. I believe that when you hit a certain point or different levels of your life, God will send different people to bring you to the next level or to the next phase of your life or into the next season. So what did that look like for you? Um, and I see you
So
you laugh and you're very giggly when it comes to talking about your mentor, which is a good thing. So tell us how that even came about.
So basically, I was writing on this site called Wattpad, like a free publishing website, and I was on Twitter, and I was just like, I put author in the search bar, and anybody who had author next to their name, I was just dropping my link into their DMs, like, hey, can you check this out for me? Hey, can you check this out? Hey, I wrote this book. Can you read it? And somebody got back to me and they was like, I'm actually a part of a publishing company and I read a little bit about it, or a little bit about your book, and I think it's good. I can't remember what the person name is. I feel bad because she's the one who introduced me to her. Unfortunately, she's not on our label anymore. But so she gave me a Sarah's contact information, and like at first, like I was really sketchy about it, and I'm like, yo, what is this scam? What is she trying to scam me? Like she wants my bank account, she wants this, she wants that. I don't know, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm ever going to get a chance like this again. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do it. And so that's basically how I got signed. And within a couple of months, I end up becoming. So I'm actually her assistant now as well. So like I handle all the promos. I try to help with all our other authors and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, within a couple of months, I became her assistant, and then a couple months after that, then Queen dropped, and and technically my contract is up, but I keep telling her like, you might as well rip it up because you're not getting rid of me. I'm staying right here. Like you're gonna have to fight me to get rid of me.
Wow, that's so cool. So you get a chance to work underneath your mentor, and how is that? Is that different from just when you were on the outside versus working up and close? You're her assistant. So how does that work? Like, is there a different dynamic from when you first came into, or is it kind of been pretty much the same?
It's been pretty much the same. I'm like I don't know if I'm the youngest one on our label. I'm pretty sure I am, but I always have that little sister type personality, even if am the oldest. So it's like I'll call this lady every day. If I don't call her, I text her. Like I get on her nerves. Like, and it's been like that since day one. And it's like you're not getting rid of me. Like she turns her phone off just so I can't get in contact with her because I bother her. And most of the time, it's like I don't want nothing. I just wanted to see what you were doing. Like this is me calling you for our daily botherment. Just so yeah, I wanted to know what you were doing just to bother you.
Okay, so you guys have a really dynamic relationship, and you have a chance to sit under her and kind of see what she does and serve her in that capacity. So, we have a lot of people that want to become authors. I know a lot of people that want to become authors. So, what is like one of your three biggest tips that you would tell anybody that wants to start writing a book or wants to put out a book? Because I'm like, you say you see McDonald's everywhere. Well, you see authors everywhere too. So it's like you may have to
Mm-hmm.
be like, well, who's going to pay my book any attention? All these books are already out here. I get this a lot. So I want you to elaborate and tell these folk that are watching and that are going to watch, what is your three major tips for anyone who wants to become an author?
Well, I'm not going to name drop because a lot of people that I've met have done this so far, and I'm begging anybody who wants to be an author, please, with every inch of your being, do not do this because it's really irritating for not only other authors but editors and your publishers. But don't forget, you can't call yourself a writer if you're forgetting quotation marks, if you don't know how to do character development. And I get everybody has room for growth. Even me, I've been writing for years. And even professionally, I still have room for growth. But it's the basic stuff that you need to know for writing. Like you need to know, oh, when a character speaks, you start a new paragraph. Like it's just certain little things like that. It irritates me when I see people who don't do it, and I have to sometimes remind myself like not everybody had the same education I had. Like this stuff literally been drilled into my brain. But I'm like, if you're gonna be a writer, when I was growing up, I was always told write about what you know. And if you want to write about something you don't know, research it and don't start writing about it until you're 100% sure that everything you're going to say about this topic, you able to back. Nobody can't go back and check it and be like, oh, you're wrong with this. So
Absolutely, I agree. Write about something you know. Stay right there for a second. So write about something you know. So if you have upcoming authors that are listening right now, why do you think that is so important that they write about what they know versus if they want to step out and do something that they're not really familiar with? But of course, they would need to do their research because, of course, you don't want nobody coming back saying, "Nope, I don't know what this is," and it causes a whole big feud. Why do you feel like telling an author or an upcoming author, stay in your lane and write about what you know, what makes sense to you, blase, blase, like elaborate on that a little bit.
Because I feel like it's a little bit easier. Like, so for me personally, I grew up in Philly. So I know about, like, having to run for because there's a random shooting. I actually been caught in multiple crossfires. Thankfully I wasn't hit. But like I've seen it, I lived it. That's what I know. So me writing urban fiction stories based in Philly is not hard for me because I've done lived it. I've seen it with my own eyes. So it's not hard for me to just try to sit there and come up with a story because I'm like, oh, well, this happened in the news the other day and I know exactly where that at. I could write a story around that. Like, that's like what? So Sarah, she writes fantasy. I want to write, well, she writes more than just fantasy, but she has a lot of fantasy books. I want to write fantasy books as well, but I have a hard time just coming up with a whole new world and a whole new race of, I can't just build that. And I know if I just tried to like write a fantasy book and send it to her and tell her to put it out, she would look at me like I'm crazy because it probably wouldn't make sense because I don't know what I'm writing about. So
Well,
it's
that
easier.
makes
So that's
sense.
why I said, yeah. So that's why I said, like, I know I'm writing urban fiction now to build my my fan base and stuff like that because I know of that stuff. But I still do want to do talk about controversial topics because again, I know about that stuff and that can actually help somebody in the long run. And yeah, eventually I will branch out when I get my bearings because I actually she been told me to read some of her fantasy books and I haven't. I'm probably gonna get yelled at for that if she's watching this. But yeah,
So
we
basically
terrorize each other on
experience.
our lives, huh?
So basically experience. Write about your experience, things that you have been through, that you've seen.
Even
Yeah.
that too. Like I have a lot of people now who come to me like, "Oh, I want you to write my life story. I want you to write my life story." And I'm like, "All right, I can write it. You just got to give me the material. Like if you don't want your name in it, I can write a book based on your life story.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still gonna need that information from you because I don't know what you've been through. I need some of your own words because I can put my own perspective on what I think and what has happened. Like my book, Abuse is Not What She Deserves. I have never been in an abusive relationship, so I can only write what I've seen on TV or heard from other people or what I read in other books and what I think how those type of relationships go. So like that yeah, I really enjoyed writing that book with Sarah, but for me it wasn't as personal because I didn't go through that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So, what is next for you? What is next? Like, you have your books. Is there anything else like long term goals that you want to see happen within the next 5 years?
Well, I just started my own book promotion company called Butler on Books, and I just got that up and running. I've been slacking on it a little bit, but because like I have two jobs, I got two kids, I'm a full time mom, I'm a Sarah assistant. I'm always tired, but I've been trying to work on that. And basically, I want to be able to stop actually going out to work and just sit at home and write books full
Mm.
time.
Sound like a
So that
plan.
that's my goal.
Sounds like you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
You are headed in the right direction. So
Thank you.
what would if you had a young person watching right now that has suffered from anxiety, depression, all these things, and they're just trying to figure it out, what would be your advice? Because listen, this generation right here, I'm telling you, is like, listen, I
Everywhere.
thought my generation was something. I don't know. Like I think this one got that with me. But listen, there is a lot of suicide. There's a lot of high anxiety going on, and I know people that actually work in the field of children, and they see these things on a day to day basis. What would be what would you want to say to them or say to the parents, maybe the parents or even a teenager or young adult that may be watching, that are dealing with these same things that you kind of went through before? What would be what you would tell them if you could?
Well, for the children and the young adults that are going through this, one of the things I had issues with was actually going to tell someone I had I was feeling some type of way or going through it. So like really speak about it. Like cuz at the end of the day nobody's a mind reader. So if you don't speak up, nobody will ever know. And yeah, sometimes we think like, oh, well, they should just notice the mood change. They should just notice these things. They should see the hints I'm dropping. And sometimes parents are blind to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't speak up, then there's no way we can help. And for the parents, I want to say, like, actually, like, talk to your kids. Like, if you constantly yell at them all the time, they're not going to feel comfortable going to you. And like,
Right.
what, I have a 4-year-old and a 5-month old. I'm still learning, even with everything I've been through growing up. I'm still learning that as a parent. Like, my 4-year-old, she's going through a whole little attitude right now, and I'm like constantly yelling at her. And I have to remember, like, she's 4, she doesn't completely understand. I want her to be able to come to me with everything. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
scared to come to you because they think they're going to get in trouble for coming to you, then you'll never know what's going on with them.
Right.
But, and again, for the other people who still don't feel comfortable with going to their parents, like, find a trusted adult, somebody you trust. Like, for me, growing up when I was in school, it was always the guidance counselor, or
Mm-hmm.
even getting into therapy. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your parents, ask your parents if they can get you into therapy. You have
Right.
to find a positive outlet. And I know a lot of you guys are probably tired of hearing this, because when you have mental health, and you have to know, you go to mental health clinics or therapy, and they give you all these coping skills and stuff. They give you the generic coping skills, but
I don't know. We can't hear you.
No. Now she's frozen. No.
Flip it around.
There
There you
you go. Can't
say
hear you.
something, Jamie. She's probably gonna have to jump back on. Something happened. The devil is a liar, but it's still
No, he
good.
is.
Still,
He is.
still a great interview. There
I'm
she
so
goes.
sorry.
It's
Somebody
okay.
started
It's
calling my
okay.
phone.
It's
I was
okay.
like, what happened?
Yes. So I like the encouragement that you are giving to the young people because I think it's so
Mm-hmm.
needed. I think you're going to be an excellent voice for young
Yeah.
adults. So please get that young adult line of books that are out because sometimes it's just not enough saying it. You know, they may have to read it. They might have to see it. I tell people all the time, people learn so different. They might want to read it. They might not want to read it. They might want to actually see it in real time. So there's people
Hmm.
that come along like you who have a creative mind to bring them in, and that'll help them be able to express what they're going through and even help their parents be able to help them maneuver through it as well. It's going out
I
again.
am trying to do a lot.
Uh-oh. Wow.
So I enjoyed her. I like
Yeah.
her realness. She's very raw, very real. You
Mm.
guys put some likes and comments in this section.
Apparently, somebody's really trying to talk to me.
Yes. So why don't you go ahead and let everybody know really quick how to find you and connect with you?
Okay, so I am on. You can find me on Facebook at Jamie Alicia. So that's JamieAlicia. You can find my books on Amazon and Kindle. Just type in J.A. Butler. I'm also on Instagram and all that, but I'll just drop all my social media handles and links in the comments for you guys because I can't remember my Instagram handle. But thank you for having me on the show. I'm sorry that I keep getting interrupted.
It's okay. It
It's
happens to
okay.
the best of us. But thank you so much, Jamie, for coming past and giving us
Yeah.
your knowledge and giving us the tea on being an author for real, and what not to do and what to do. Okay, because we need that. Okay, so I thank you
Hmm.
again, and of course we're going to stay connected to you, and we just thank you. And I wish you
Yeah.
all the best of luck in all of your
Yeah.
book projects. Keep soaring high, keep doing what you're doing, reach back and save your generation for real.
I'm trying
Because
to.
get them
You
all, get
will.
them all, get them all.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
But
thank
thank you
you.
guys so much. I
You're
appreciate
Yes,
quite
it.
thank you
welcome.
so much. So we will stay connected to you. You have a great day, Jamie.
You
Yes. Enjoy
too.
the rest of your
Bye.
evening. Bye bye.
I'm trying to.
So yeah, so I'm so triple excited about her. I know she is going to do marvelous things, so we're going to
Yeah.
stay connected to her. So next up, we have author Tracy Christian. You all,
Hello.
hi Tracy, how
Hi.
are you?
I am good. I'm excited. Thank you guys for this opportunity.
Yes.
So cool.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm having a ball back here because this is great information coming from, different authors. It's really nice to see what you guys process is like for real, for real. So
It is
welcome
crazy.
to the show. So I'll
Yeah.
turn you over to Miss Hubbard and we're gonna get your interview started.
Okay. Hi,
Yes, we're
Miss
gonna
Hubbard.
say hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just want to say welcome once again.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
my first question for you is, when did you write your first book, and
Ooh.
what inspired you to write it?
Well, much like your author, Miss Butler, I've been writing since I was a kid. That was kind of how I occupied myself when I wasn't outside playing with my friends.
Okay.
When I would spend time by myself, I would just sit and have my little composition book and I would write my stories and draw my pictures and then, even read my stories out loud on my little tape recorder. And I'm talking the old school tape recorder where you had to push play and record at the same time. You understand what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, so I always wanted to do that, but sometimes the things that we pick up that we like as kids, when we share them with our friends, if they don't like it too, then they're sitting back
Right.
looking at you like,
What?
what? And of course, you don't want to be the odd man out. So I left writing alone all through high school. I was in the band, I was in the choir, I was in dance. I've always been artsy. And when I got in college, I started writing poetry. But I
Okay.
was so afraid of it that I was afraid of the feedback.
Mhm,
So I would
mhm.
write a poem, wouldn't put my name on it, and would just post it on the wall in my dorm room. So one, you had to be really, really cool with me to come to my room. And then
Right.
two, you had to be really, really, observant and take the time to actually read it. And only then, if you read it and said you liked it, I tell you I wrote it. Now, if you say
Right,
you didn't
right.
like it, I tell you I got it from somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
But after I got married, I was in the middle of my own crisis. I had just lost my grandmother, just lost my dad within 2 months of each other.
Wow.
And I always had this desire I never had let my husband know about. And at that time, we had only been married maybe about 3 years. And I came out of Drumline in '02 and was like,
Mm,
the timeline between Black college stories was bugging me. I've always been an avid reader. So
mhm,
the fact that there was so much time between School Days, A Different World, and Drumline and Stomp the Yard, all those things started to bug me. And I was
mm.
so heavily affected by my HBCU experience. So I sat down to write one book about the HBCU experience, but it turned into a 3-part series. And
Wow.
the latest book is like book number 9, but it's the 4th installment to that series.
Wow.
So that's kind of how the whole thing got started. Once I started writing, I couldn't stop.
Okay. So like the first author, you that was more of a passion because you always wanted
Absolutely.
to do it.
Yeah, I think my motivation, because I studied communications in college, so I have a
Mm.
love for music and a love for writing. And I guess it's just easier to say I'm one of those with a whole lot to say. And if I put it in a book, then I can say it uninterrupted.
Right, right. That's I agree with that most likely. Um, so what was the name of your first book?
The first book is a series. It's called The Black College Sabbatical. And I
Okay.
use the word sabbatical because it is a learning trip. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Each year is a different learning trip, okay, with several lessons. So,
Exactly.
I broke them up by quarters because that's how we attended school back in
Yes.
the day. So now it would be considered a throwback story because I started
Mhm.
writing it in '02 and I published the first installment in '07, the second installment in '09, and then the third installment in 2011.
Okay.
And then the 4th installment, which is my 9th book, that's my current book, that's Murder on the Yard, that picks this series up 20 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. When I seen that Murder on the Yard, I was like, what is this?
Yes, let me tell you. See, what it does is like I said, the first series, The Black College Sabbatical series chronicles 4 girls their first year at a historically Black college, at a fictional historically Black college. And one is they don't know each other prior. One is a legacy. Her mom, her father, her sister all went to that school, but she wants to pave her own, trail.
Yes, yes.
The one is a sports fanatic, so a sports athlete. Academic athlete is what I want to say. So they're being raised by a single father. Another one of the characters is actually a non-African American student, but has always grown up in urban areas. Okay. And then the fourth one is a young lady who comes from the hood, but always had a desire to dance and winds up earning a scholarship to dance with the band to come to school. So you travel with these 4 girls, and there's a guardian angel that enlists you at the beginning of the book as your reading companion and challenges the reader to say, I'm here to protect. You got to tell me which one of these 4 girls you think needs my guidance the most.
Wow.
So that's the very first series, and so you follow them, through the fall quarter, the winter quarter, and the spring quarter, and it's drama. Okay. I just say that. But then in Murder on the Yard, you get a chance to see how 20 years later, all of your main characters return. They are all somehow connected to the university, whether they work for the university, whether they have children who now go to the university, whether they're active themselves, in alumni and boards and that type of thing. And then it's post-pandemic, so we had to put those, what a HBCU homecoming might look like with all the precautions, because when I started this series, they hadn't quite opened up the country just yet. It took a while. So at my university this past year, they wound up canceling or scaling back the homecoming festivities to keep everybody safe. So I was, it'll be interesting next year to see if some of the things that I mentioned in the book that the campus puts in place to keep everybody safe really happens on these campuses, But one of the main characters, there's a murder right in the middle of homecoming. So yeah. So it's a conversation because, how do we handle tragedy on a public stage?
Yes.
So, it's just a whole bunch of subtopics in the book that even if we don't find resolution in the story, it's definitely, plenty of room for conversation, which is what I think good literature is supposed to do.
Yeah. Make me want to go out and get the book.
See, that's what's up.
I'm trying to say.
I can send you guys some ebooks, though, just as a gift. But thank you for having me on the show. If you guys are willing to sit back and read them, I don't mind sending them to you.
All right. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, remember, because I'm about to tell you right now, these sound like some series that should be on Netflix.
Okay.
In the movie theater. I'm just going to call it
From your lips to God's ears. My husband and I have started sending them to different people just that we think are, would take care of it. I've already sent the set of all 9 of my books to Tyler Perry. So
don't be surprised.
You know what I'm saying? But they all copywritten, so he can.
I'm trying to tell you right now, Tracy, these things need to be on somebody's. Oh my goodness. I'm just sitting up here like that is a movie. That's a series. Like, because then, all of this stuff is right down my lane. So it's like instantly when I start hearing people talk about their books, I'd be like, why don't you have this on the screen yet? What you waiting on?
I'm trying to find people to connect with people like you guys.
Well, I'm telling you, mother will tell you, my ears be like,
that's fine. That's great. I love that.
Well, yeah, I'd be like, what is really happening? Wow.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the screen. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, me too. Thank you.
Yeah, we know her.
Definitely. We can do cameos and all that. Let's just, let's see. I'm working on it. Definitely.
All right. So, my last question is, did you ever feel like giving up?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. When I and that's one of the reasons I was so intrigued when I found out just the title of you guys' podcast, Tears to Purpose, child, I have so many tears, so many tears.
Yeah.
But happy ones and sad ones. And actually, when I started writing this book, and I don't tell this story very often, but it's definitely pertinent to the platform you guys have provided. I was in the process of walking away from my home, my husband and I. I told you we were like newly into our marriage. So, we bought this big old house in the neighborhood I grew up in. I used to walk past this house every day, and that sucker was a money pit, and we didn't know until we got in it. You pay for what you don't know, and in the course of that, we working on our marriage. Both of us felt really bad. We felt like failures, and actually writing this series was my way of escaping that madness, and I remember, we had just left the attorney's office going ahead. We filed bankruptcy, the whole nine. And I just looked at my husband and was like, with all this going on, how am I going to be able to write a book? Who's going to buy a book from somebody that's going through something like that? Who's going to care about a story written by a person that's done this big failure? And he said, well, who reading it now? And the woman who had so much to say was speechless. I could not find a witty comeback to debate that. So I just went home, sat down at the computer, and just started. So even when I started, it wasn't necessarily, with the intention to write 3 more books or even to know if I was going to be able to finish this first one. But it got so long and I was so into the story. I was like, I'm going to have to break this up. It's going to be like one piece. So that's what I did. And that's how we got there, And then after that, I didn't want to be put into a box saying, oh, she just writes, Black college stories or whatever. I love urban fiction. I like to call the subgenre I created, reflective fiction, because I like to come up with a really, really good story, but that gives you something to think about.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I call my little genre, is reflective fiction. And the 3 books that I wrote after that were kind of tied to the city of Detroit, because at the time, once all those books came out, post 2012, we had all that issue in Detroit with our mayor, with our city government. So much was going wrong in the city. And we were on a national stage all the time in a bad way. So I wanted to write fictional stories that were meaty and engaging, but that also spoke of perseverance in a place that most people have given up on.
Yeah. Wow. Excellent. So the main thing is just sit down and get started. Yes. Once you start, you never know what's going to come out.
Absolutely.
You never know you was going to write multiple books, but you got started. That's the thing.
That's exactly it. And even through that, after the books were written and I started trying to promote it, I ran into someone and wound up doing a pod. Well, not even, it wasn't called a podcast, and it was an internet radio show to be interviewed about the book. And I studied radio in college. That offered an opportunity to start my own radio show. In 2022, my radio show will be 10 years old.
Wow.
So I've been in radio just a slight time, a little less time than I've been writing, So had I not started, I always tell people, when you're scared of failure, the only way that you can make sure that you beat failure is to try. Because if you never try, or if you quit, then you have secured failure, and that's not what you're trying to do.
That's true. I like that. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna give you over to Lakia because she's anxious.
All right.
I'm just sitting back enjoying this whole conversation. But Tracy, tell us, what is your advice from your standpoint and the experience that you have had as being an author? What is your advice that you can give to upcoming authors or people that are in it, but they haven't quite found their, yeah.
So just to find your footing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I always tell people to trust their instincts. Trust your instincts, and you never can research too much. I stumbled upon self-publishing. I really did, because I sent a letter off for an idea about my book and got a rejection letter and cried for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's not going to work. So I had to go about it a different way, So I started researching. And one of the things that I have found, particularly with people when they're talking about self-publishing, it is so much easier a situation to research now than it was 10, 12 years ago. You know, I just tell people to watch out for those vanity press companies. You know, they are kind of like Amazon in the sense where they do print on demand, but they want you to pay some money up front, which is, you know, if they're your publishing liaison, you know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that whatever they're asking you to pay will be matched in the services that they provide. And many times they offer you the world, they promise you the world and give you like a crumb, you know, and then you still have probably overextended yourself financially. You know what I mean? So there are so many different sources now that are more reputable, you know, Ingram Spark, Amazon, and what is it? It was Creator Space. It's not Creator Space anymore, but KDP Publishing. And there are a few others, you know, that, you know, have that reputation, and, you know, they're set up with the Better Business Bureau. I would say research all your information first before you decide which way you want to go, whether it's traditional or self-publishing. And then the key thing I want people to remember is the importance of intellectual property and owning it. You know, it costs $55 to copyright your work, you know, even before it is published as an unpublished manuscript. You protect it before you put it out there. That way, if you do blow up, if someone sees it and wants to turn it into something else, they have to come see you. And if they don't, then you have a case, you know. But if you don't have that protection, then you're kind of left out there naked. And no one likes to feel into that, you know. And then for those people who are just scared to get started, God gave you the vision. You have to see it through. Those are the main things. Those are the main things. I mean, you know, God was waking me up in the middle of the night, like, go write this chapter. You're not doing anything else. And I was full-time teaching, you know. So now I have 3 companies and I work from home with my husband. And, you know, and with his support, I probably would still be teaching, typing books on my lunch break, you know. But now I do a few other things. I ventured off into audio books because I got all this radio equipment at home, you know. So, yeah, you know, starting is the main thing, you know. And if you've been given that vision, it's a gift. Go ahead and see it through. You know, if you make one person feel good, mission accomplished. If you sell one book, mission accomplished. And if you did one, then you can do more. That's just the way I look at it.
I love it. I love how both of you and Alicia, are just speaking from a real perspective and just from experience. And just for one, I love that you two have taken leaps to do this. Because sometimes we don't like the leap. We question God, no, did you come get me to come do this or what? Like this back and forth thing. And God said, I already put this in you. Just do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I just love you guys' transparency. And so what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years?
Oh my goodness. In the next 5 years, I am hoping to bring what you guys say to fruition. I get so excited when I see all the different streaming services. And I don't know if anyone's really paying attention, because out of all the things that you see on social media, you don't really see anybody talking about this is an unprecedented time in television for Black people, you know, or people of color, just across the board, but definitely those that look like us. I mean, you know, there are so many 1-hour dramas, you know, half-hour comedy series, so many movies across genres now. And then now so many people branching out and starting and opening their own studios, you know, so the opportunities are endless. I'm hoping that I can make that next matriculation. I love to write. I've done plays. Well, I've done monologues. I've done nonfiction. I've done fiction. I want to do children's books, and I do eventually want to write a script, whether it is for a television series or a full-fledged movie. It really doesn't matter to me. We can do it all. So that's kind of just where I'm at with it. I'm hoping that we go that way. You know, when I run into people and make connections with people like you guys, it just makes me feel more optimistic that it can really happen.
I'm telling you, I love the creatives. I love it. It's like, where they at? Bring it on. Because I'll be sitting there saying the same thing. I'll be looking at TV and I'll be like, Now, how can I'm like Pinky, you remember Pinky in the Brain? How can
Yes.
I take over this network
world.
and let me change the game a little bit? That's what I be thinking, but I love it. So that is a really great goal. But Tracy, hands down, all jokes aside, God is going to catapult you where you need to be because you understand the assignment.
Thank you so
You
much.
understand the assignment and you understand that what you're doing is going to make a difference, right? And God's print is on that thing. It's on there. You just keep doing what you're doing.
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
Mother Hubbard always tell me all the time, she's like, just watch and see what's gonna happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I just have to give you guys a shout out and let you guys know how appreciative I am for this platform and the opportunity that you provide, because these, what you guys are doing for authors, that helps us to our good bake for those quiet moments. You know what I'm saying? In artistry, before you launch, after the book signing, while you're promoting at 2:00 in the morning because you can't sleep, that type of thing. You guys offer platforms that, that make it real for us during those times. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants to hear about the struggle when you're on your way to the top. They just want to hear about what it feels like when you get
Come
there.
on, talk about that. Talk about it. Come on, that's for real. Everybody want to come eat after the hard suffering. What about before that? Baby, where was you at? Where was you at?
Okay, right. So absolutely. So, people that offer this, and sometimes when I get down, I have to remember that, when I was starting out, there were very few opportunities like these for people just starting. Back then, everybody wasn't really cool with internet radio. They didn't really know where it was going to go or how to operate it, so it was hard to find these platforms. And now, 12 years later, a lot of those shows that existed back then don't exist anymore. So you have to constantly, find your crew, find your village, so to speak. So with you guys doing that, you guys reminded me that, I want to be the change I want to see. You know what I'm saying? So once I talked to you, Lakia, yesterday, I went ahead and signed up with StreamYard. I was like, okay, I'm going to start season 2 of the Right Stuff podcast. Let me get it together in 2022 because I've joined more author groups and I see so many people that are just like me. And rather than them being sad and can't find a solution, I want to help be the solution. So.
And that you will be. So go ahead and tell everybody how they can find you and connect with you.
Absolutely. First of all of my books, all 9 of them, the Black College Sabbatical series, Toast to the Fool. I have 2 nonfiction books that are called This One's for Me and You, and that is basically mental meals, because that's how I start each of my shows, with food for thought. So, it's a quote either I made up or I found somewhere, and then I write a whole commentary about it. And then, of course, Murder on the Yard, The Comfort Zone, If I Had No Loot, all on Amazon, okay? Amazon and Kindle, and 7 of the books are on Audible. So the only way I can't get it to you is Braille, and I'm working on that. I'm working on it. I'm gonna see how to make it happen, but that way. And then if you want to buy from me directly, my books are $10 when people buy them from me directly. They're slightly higher on Amazon, and Kindle or whatever. But you can just reach me through Facebook. I am T Elise, the B-side DJ, or you could just hit me up at Tracy E. Christian Author page on Facebook. I'm T Elise on Instagram, but that kind of plays to the whole radio thing because I'm DJ T Elise, the Motor City Sis. I got to be a little different, so that's my moniker. I write under my government name, and then my moniker is my radio name. So.
All right. So I thank you for taking out of your busy schedule to join us. We have enjoyed you and Jamie Alicia so very much today. I think this was a perfect kickoff before Christmas and all of that great stuff. So we're going to invite you back again, and we're definitely going to stay connected to you. Right, Ms. Hubbard?
Yes, most definitely. I just want to say, listen, this is only the beginning. Okay? Remember that.
Yes, ma'am.
Only the beginning for you.
I thank you so much, and I appreciate the kind words. I really do.
Welcome.
Well,
All
you
right.
guys, we have came to the end of this beautiful show. We thank both of our guests, Jamie, Alicia, and Tracy Christian. Y'all don't forget these two women names. I know y'all not gonna forget it, okay? Because I'm not gonna let you forget it. Y'all make sure y'all come back here next week at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we turn it up a notch with some more great guests, powerhouse women that are doing their thing. And we just thank God for what they are doing. So keep supporting. If you want to support Tears to Purpose Real Talk, you can simply donate, become a monthly sponsor. We are not doing these things in vain. We want to continue to help as many people as God allows us to help. And also go check out the ministry at www.tearsofpurposemonologueministries.com. But we will be back next week. And we love you and good night. Entrepreneurs, experts, Christian relationship experts, that is, people in ministry that have a phenomenal story, all kinds of business owners from restaurants to beauty to financial side. We are looking for it all.